Hello everyone. In this demonstration, I will be presenting a REST API which I created using Sqlite as a backend database and NodeJS. Okay, so basically it's a very simple to-do API. Which just creates a to-do for you. And yeah, as you can see on the screen, this is the Swagger file for my REST API. So basically a Swagger file is OpenAI specification file which tells you about which lets you describe about the API definition that you have created, so that based on that schema and definition, how people can consume it. Okay, so these are the endpoints basically what we have. So we have a to do here, and we have 4 endpoints. One is a get endpoint for getting all the to dos. One is post for adding to do, put for updating a to do, and post for deleting a to do. Actually, there has to be a delete, but it was not working, so I just put it as post anyway. Um, what you see below is some of the webhooks that I have created, which can be utilized by other application. So I'll be creating a separate video on webhooks. So we'll leave this for now. Below this, there are some schemas. So for example, for the to-dos, the basic schema is an ID, which gets auto-generated, and the task is nothing but a tool that you create. Okay, here is the example of how it would appear. Okay, with data. So it has a key of to-do ID and another key for to-do value. For adding a to-do, we have this schema of task. So for updating, we need an ID so that we can update. We know what to update, and the task and what is the new value to be replaced to the old value. And we have a to do delete to do, so which here we just need an ID, okay, of the to do so that it can be deleted. Every operation has a message, so basically this message will contain whether it was a success, operation was success or a failure. Okay, so this is how it would look. And webhook, we'll just leave it for now. We'll just concentrate on other things. Okay, so let me first show you how we can test this. So this was based on Swagger, and if I open this tab of getting to do, I get all the responses. Okay, this has been defined in my Swagger file based on the responses of the endpoint or my REST API. So I can actually try this out here. So if I click on this, I can say execute. So once I say execute, it will make a request, get request for the get to do endpoint. You can see the URL here. And this is the server response. If it is 200, it's a success. And you can see it's returning an empty array. That means there is nothing inside the to-do collection. Okay, so that was my get endpoint. And then if I have to add a to-do, let me click on this, add to-do. And you can see this request bodies of type JSON, and this is how the JSON value of the structure of the JSON value looks like. So to-do value is the key, and this is the value. Okay, something you want to do. And it will return me 201 if it is created successfully. It will return me 500 if there's any server error. Okay, so let me try this out. Let me try to add something. Let me see. Let's say clear AZ400 exam. Anything I can just mention. So once I do that, I can go ahead and say execute. So once I say execute, so it has given me 201, which is insert operation succeeded. Okay, so everything is fine. There was no exception. So in order to check, I can go to the previous endpoint and say execute once again, and it will return me this particular value. Okay, so this was the one. Let me try to add one more. So maybe get up every day at 5 a.m. Let's see. Try to add. Okay, so there was no exception. It got inserted. And then let me try again. So I should see two values. Yeah, okay. I see two values here. Okay, great. And then let's test out the update to do. So in this update to do, so I have to give the to do ID to update and the to do value. Okay, so let's try this. So let me try to modify something from here. So let's say 1. I want to update. Okay, so let me say so the ID would be 1, and the value would be something like cleared is equal 400 with uh, good marks. Let's say. Let me try to update, execute, and once I update, it says success succeeded, and you can see that this is the request URL. So these URLs you can actually call in your applications. Could be React, Angular, anything. Okay, so it got updated. So let's check it out. Let me go to go get to do and say execute once again. So as you can see, the value got updated here. Okay, great. So since it got updated, I cleared easy 400 with good marks. So there's no to do here required. So let me delete this. So the ID is 1. So let me go to the delete endpoint and okay, let's try it out. So I have to pass it to do ID. Try this out. Let me give the ID as 1. Okay, and say execute. So once I say execute, delete operation succeeded. Okay, there's no exception. So okay, this looks good. Let me go to select and run that execute again. This is my get to do. Execute. Yeah, so you can see in the collection there is no item with the ID 1. Okay, so Swagger lets you execute your API on the client. Okay, so you can do all this thing in other REST API tools, testing tools like Postman, etc. Visual Studio Code also lets you test these APIs. So do that. Let me know what any issue that you're facing. Now let's try to look into the code. I have this Visual Studio Code, so this is my solution. This is also uploaded in GitHub. I will give the URL in the description of the video, so you can look into it at your free time. Okay, so let's look at the dependencies here. If I go to the package.json, so there are some values I'm reading from env file, so that's why this .NET environment package. EJS just to, I want to have a home page of my this thing, so I just created one just a view for this home page. So it says something like this. So if I go to localhost 880, so this is just a value, just a sample value I given Node.js and integration applications. Okay, so for this we need EJS, and then for creation of REST API, I'm using Express, so that's fine. Node fetch is basically in the package for executing the webhooks, so I'll cover that in a separate video. Sqlite is a package for integrating with Sqlite database file. Okay, so this is the file that you see here, todos.db. This is the file where all my data resides. Okay, whatever operation that I'm doing, it will go and sit here. Then there are two packages for Swagger implementation. So one is JS docs and one is for the UI Express. So JS docs and UI Express. Okay, and then we have this nodemon for dev dependency. Okay, and these are the scripts that I'm writing, executing this thing. And app.js is my entry point. Okay, so let's go and see into my um, app.js where it is. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so in this app.js, um, let me see what is there. Yeah, okay. So from here, basically, I am uh, storing these values here in my configuration. So what is the port number on which the application will run, and what is the host URI? Okay, so in my local, since it is I'm running it from my local, so I need to enable this and comment out the host URI. Okay, save it. So this is where it will hit the endpoint, and this is the port number. So for that, I'm using this .NET package again. And so there are ways of implementing Swagger this thing. So we'll talk about Swagger later. But we for all the operation for SQL this thing SQL file, I created a separate file called Sqlite 3 DB API. So you can find this in this data file. We will see into that later once we cover this. Okay. So here basically initializing the express, and these are the basic stuff which we do for uh, uh, setting up the API. And then for my homepage index.js. So this is how we are configuring the view, telling that I'll be using EJS for my view engine. Okay, and this is my homepage endpoint. So this is how I'm rendering that index. So in the view index.ejs will be called with this name. And these are dynamic values that I'm passing. So the title is Node.js and welcome to this. So in this index.ejs, so this is how we can declare a variable, and then it will be on the runtime, it will be replaced by the value we pass. Okay. And here are the get implementation of all the endpoints. So first one is get all to do. So it starts with that to do, and then it calls get all to dos, and it will basically build up an array and send the status of 200 with that array. And if there is any exception, you will send a code of 500, which will say that some exception occurred. Okay. The next one is the insert operation. So in that, this is the endpoint which we had created. So the values that will be coming through the request.body object. So here with this key, so this is how I'm capturing it and keeping in this variable. And if it is undefined, this is the exception I'm sending. Otherwise, insert calling the insert function with the value, getting the result. If it is success, then 201. 201 basically is for creating, for any creation, we send 201 status. If any exception, then 500. And we're calling the next for the next package to be called. Then we have this delete operation. So same thing, request the to-do ID will be arriving with in the request.body object, and calling the delete to-do function with the to-do ID. If it is succeeded, then 202 for deletion. It says deletion option succeeded. If otherwise, if there is an exception, then I'm sending 500 code, and then this is some exception. Okay, and then for the update to do, this is the endpoint. For that update, we will be receiving to do ID and to do value request.body. Same validations for checking the emptiness. And if it is fine, then we call update to do, pass the value. If it is succeeded, then send 200, otherwise send 500. Okay. So, and these are the endpoints basically. So these are the functions which I have created for creating the to do table. Okay, in this file. Okay, so in the same this thing we have created, we are calling create if not exist to do table. Once it is created, it will say succeeded, otherwise exception. Same thing for the webhook details. So this is anyway we'll cover later in separate video, but I'm just storing all the subscribers URL to which we need to send the data to of various events. Okay. Yeah, so all these things are webhook related endpoints. So I'm not going to cover now. And at the end, I'm listening to this with the port number and saying consoling log saying started, and I'm calling these two functions. So it will check that if the file doesn't have those tables, it will create it. Otherwise, it will not do anything. So this was my app.js. And so let's go to this file SQL 3 database.json. Sorry, yeah, .javascript file. So here, if you see, these are the functions that I'm calling and exporting, returning it, so that my other modules can utilize them, call them. So let's quickly cover this one. So in this, I'm calling this Sqlite, and the node fetch anyway, that is for the webhook. But in this function, I'm getting the DB reference and I'm creating this file. I'm saying the attribute like open read write, and open and create. So basically, if it will open for read and write, if the file is not there, it will create it. Okay, so we don't need to do anything just to specify this file, this text here. Okay, so for getting all to do, so this is we are returning the promise and getting the reference and basically making a query, select row ID as ID and task as to do from an order by row ID. So in this, if for all, basically, I am building up an array and then resolving it and sending it back. Okay, and if it is greater than 0, if it is less than 0, then empty array I'm sending it here. Okay, so you see here, this is how I'm just returning it as an empty. And finally closing the DB and in case of catch, I'm sending the reject with the error message and then nothing. And finally, these are anyway for webhooks, so I'll just skip it for now. So and this create if not table exists for to do. So just basically I'm creating the schema or executing the schema of the table. Create table. It has just one field called task of type text. Okay, and then similarly for webhook details, I have two fields. What is the event name and what is the endpoint URL. Okay. Now coming to the insert to do. So in this function, we will be receiving the to do value here. And then, so basically I'm saying insert into to do and then value, passing the value here, and then just executing it. Okay, so statement.run will execute this. Similarly for delete, so basically for before deleting, I'm just getting, I want to get the reference of the to do value also. So making query. So I'm getting the task where the ID is the matched, I mean the parameter passed. And in this, I'm storing it in my variable. Okay, and then finally execute the delete command. Okay. The next one is update. So receiving two values, update ID and value. Same thing. So here I'll be executing update to do set. Set basically will set the new values in the respective columns. So here I'm passing the values here. Okay, so before updating here, I'm just checking whether if it exists. If it exists, then only update, otherwise do not do anything. Yeah, so these were the four functions. Okay, and yeah, that's it. And then there's no security implemented here. It's basically unsecured. So you can go ahead and try this API in your Postman or the choice of your testing tool. And let me know comments if you're stuck anywhere or need any help. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. And what else is there? Okay, let me cover this the Swagger implementation. So basically here in the Swagger, we define these two variables. And here in this, we create an option of what is the OpenAI specification version, what is the title version and the description. And in this, basically, we what we want this Swagger file to do is we have to tell what is the location of our API. Okay, so in my case, since this is the file which has all the implementation of Sqlite, so this is how I'm given. So given the path and then star, basically whatever JS file falls under this folder will be processed by Swagger file. Passing it as in Swagger tag as a parameter here and app.use. So this is the endpoint that I have created and saying UI.serve and then setup. So with this command, it will actually set up this this kind of a UI. Okay, so yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And then in this file, basically we have to define the schema of our functions. So we do that using this format. So if we define Swagger and give a tag, so basically we have two tags here. The tags will appear something like this. So this is one tag and this is another tag. Okay, that's how it is. To do description, so we see that here. And in this, we define all the components. For example, what is the schema of the, for example, to do, it's a type of object, what is required here, what are the properties. Okay, so all these things will be rendered here like this in this particular thing. Okay, in Swagger. So we have to define all this kind of uh, uh, details. We have to provide all these details here. Okay, so for add to do, what is the object, what is the property, basically what is accepting the type, description. Okay, one sample value example, so that user will know how to, what to pass and how to pass. Update to do, basically the same thing. Required is that ID and task, property, ID, task, and what is the example. Similarly for to do. Okay, so we need to define all this in this format. Then only we'll be able to see this particular UI and yeah. So this UI, this is an OpenAI specification, and this is widely accepted, and this URL can be given to the to the and to the users who wants to consume this API in their respective applications. So this will give them a very good information of what your API does and what is the kind of endpoints you have, what are the data types it accepts, and what does it return. So these are very important things when you want, or basically when anyone wants to consume a API. Okay, so I'll be uh, sharing this code file in the description of the video. So have a look at it and then let me know if you have any questions. We will cover the webhook part of this in a separate video. All right, thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye.